Well, good evening now. I just sold a listing, right? So I just picked up the lockbox here in North Portland. We closed on Friday, and I finally had time to go pick up the lockbox, and it's looking good. So this property was a fixer. It's a fix and flip. Or fix and rent, or whatever they decide to do, the buyer. And we priced it and marketed it perfectly. So it went pending the day we listed. And I'm really proud of it. And then, almost going on 4 months later, we finally closed. And the reason for that was, as soon as we got into the transaction, like a week later, we discovered an estate cloud on the title, which prevented us from selling it until we could find all of the heirs who are associated with this property. And I feel like I'm gonna sneeze soon, so if I do, that's what's going on. How do you like this? This is my dash cam. Anyway, you're blocking my speedometer, but I know how fast I'm going, and it's not very. Anyway, so we've been in contract for 3 going on 4 months, and it's been a challenge. Frankly, we were really excited to get under contract on all sides. The house was priced in the right place. The buyer was ready to go to work at that price. We had multiple offers, and this buyer was highest and best, and it was a dream until we got into title and escrow. So we uncovered these missing heirs, and we had difficulty tracking one of them down, and so there were some estate problems that we had to solve. So I had to provide an attorney for my client who could represent her in probate law. And so I reached out into my network and grabbed the attorney and brought him into the transaction, and he was awesome. So I have a stellar real estate attorney referral if you need it here in Oregon. But so he went to work, and the transaction was complex because there was the buyer side, but then there was the seller side times 4. So there were 4 different disparate sellers who we had to bring together around the closing table, or get their affidavit that they were satisfied with the terms and all this stuff. And so it was a very long process and a long negotiation between the sellers only. The buyers were cool the whole time. They were ready to go. And we're totally patient and agreeable with everything, and just like flexible with the changes that we needed to make. But the seller side, my side, the listing side, was a little bit more complicated. So we had to gather everybody. I was the middleman for the whole transaction up until the very end, and I just negotiated back and forth with the estate parties, the heirs, until the attorneys were able to take over the negotiation, because it was no longer real estate law that we were dealing with, but it was estate law, which is a different thing. That's like the estate is what's left after you die. So there's like this emotional factor of there's loss involved here, and a family has suffered pain. And then we have to dig all of that back up, because it wasn't assigned correctly back when the death happened. There wasn't a will involved, so they call that intestate. So I learned a ton about estate law and estate transactions. Not enough about estate law to like go to court and write a will or whatever, but enough to know that, boy, you really can't overvalue good legal counsel if there's been some complexity to your history. And I can't overestimate the importance of of just having people who stick with you. My client was in tears, in frustration at one point, and just struggling with this whole process. But we worked together closely, and I was with her every day. She was via phone. She's not even in the state. So this whole thing, on top of it all, was remote. So, I work remote mostly. I work on the go, on the road, on an airplane, wherever. But on top of it all, this client wasn't even here to kind of be available all the time. She's in a different time zone. She's got different things going on in her day. She has her own life that she's living. So it was really quite a challenge. But by the end of the transaction, she told me that she could not sing my praises highly enough because I was with her every step of the way, and I was always patient and ready to work with her and help her through this thing. And man, that I wasn't in this for praise, and I wasn't in it for the commission. I was in this to be of service however I may. And this is where I get kind of like, I'm tooting my own horn quite a bit. I apologize, but I was really touched and blessed by the opportunity to give her something that she did not expect to receive in a way that maybe no one else was able to do it, which was just compassion and patience and commitment to her. I think she expected her agent to walk away when this got complicated. And, that's not me, that's not my brand, that's not my value or my integrity or my ethic in this business. My ethics are to stick to the job until it gets done, even if it takes, we were expecting a 2-week at the most escrow period. It multiplied by 8. Yeah, right? Math? I don't know. Anyway, so it was like exponentially longer and more complicated and more difficult than we expected. And, so we brought all the lawyers to the table. We get out of the contract and into the estate, and finally we're able to register the estate in a process called the probate with the county. And then the attorneys on both sides of this seller side of the transaction were gracious and kind in their waiver of the attorney fees. They both kind of recognized that this was such a complex and fraught situation that they agreed also to waive their fees. And so they may have gotten paid, I don't know, but they at least didn't take any payment out of the transaction itself, which they could have if they wanted to. So we got to finally the closing table. The attorneys for both parties, my client, both seller parties, my client and the estate client, came to agreement, and we were able to agree to the terms and close on Friday. And it has been awful at times, but also really a pleasure, because this was one of those things where it had to be done. They were not legally able to sell this house until this process was complete. And thank the Lord for my buyer, who was just like, who understood that and was in it for the long haul. This is an investment for her, and this was a project that she does on a regular basis and something she's excited for, so she was committed. And I couldn't be more grateful, and to experience all sides of this thing, where people would come together and with understanding and compassion and commitment to each other and to this massive undertaking. Real estate, you guys, is not an easy thing to do. as a buyer or a seller or an agent, you know, it's something that you really have to commit to. It's not something like you log on to Zillow and you say, oh, they have a cash offer for me. Zillow is not negotiating your best interest. Zillow is negotiating the easy close, right? So there are no shortcuts if you want to get your highest and best return. And this was like the perfect case study for how to not take a shortcut, but make sure that every single person in this experience is walking away with the best possible outcome. So anyway, just wanted to tell y'all, I got my little lockbox here. We're closed, on to the next. I'm really excited. Oh, also, here's some fun news. I'm producing a feature film right now. It's a horror from a faith-based perspective. So it's not like gory and vulgar and graphic. There's some surreal and unsettling images, but it's family safe. I wouldn't call it family friendly because there's still some disturbing content, but it's family safe. So anyway, I'm in negotiation with a distributor, and we've got $30,000 committed, which is a huge start. And two-thirds of that, good grief, Adam, are investors. So we've got $20,000 in investment, $10,000 of my own money, and we're in conversations with another equity investor, and we've got some credit and all this stuff. So anyway, we're gonna shoot this. It's a low-budget horror thriller, supernatural thriller, if horror is not the word you want to latch onto. We're shooting in the end of May, beginning of June. So it's called Sanguis. You can go to my film production company website, gradapictures.com, Grada pictures.com, or at Grada Pictures on Instagram, and get some behind the scenes scoop. But you know, I'm a filmmaker, so I just thought I would share that little piece of news. It's fun. It's also a lot of work. My mom never would have expected that I would be the guy who works 6 days a week, you know, 18 hours a day, 16, like wake up to go to sleep. I'm working, and it's fun, so I enjoy it. So and I can spend time with the family the whole time. But film producing and real estate are probably the two most time-consuming undertakings I could have right now, and both of them are about to turn a very, very exciting corner. So I just wanted to check in, say hi, tell you about my closing, which I'm super excited about. I'm excited to be done with it. Honestly, it was very tiring and stressful often, but we made it. Everyone's happy, everyone's well taken care of. I was able to live up to my promise of elevate and serve and help some more people start to live their lifestyle by design. So I'm very proud, very blessed, and very grateful for everybody who is here today in this video and who is involved in this work that we do. So I'm Adam Davis with Adam Davis Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.